We are all very familiar with the mind. It is the instrument by which we perceive the world. We know things as they are. So if there is something that is noble within us, it is thanks to the mind. And if it is something that is not so desirable, that is also a gift of the mind. One might ask, where is the mind? It's difficult to find. One can go to a doctor and ask, Doctor, I want to see my mind. And what is the doctor going to do? He might open the skull, take the brains out, and place that before us and say, here is your mind. But is brain the mind? No. Brain is the instrument through which we perceive the mind. But mind is so versatile, full of so many ideas, emotions, scenes, dramas. It's worth investigating what is the mind. And for that we have to investigate our thoughts. If I were to ask you, just think about the breakfast you had this morning, and in an instant, whatever you ate this morning as breakfast comes up before your eyes. You can feel the aroma, you can feel the taste. You can exactly recall what you ate this morning. And it is like experiencing it again. And now if I were to ask you that, forget about the breakfast. Just think about the news that you saw on social media or in a newspaper or on TV this morning, and the breakfast disappears. One is consumed by the news that is the talk of the day, and whatever emotions it creates, it can be fear, it can be anxiety, it can be a sense of jubilation, everything comes back. And we start living that news. The experience is so real. And again, if I were to say that, forget about the news, just think of your parents. And the parents come and stand before your mind's eye. They are absolutely real there. So many memories associated with them come flooding. And you have a living experience of being with them again. Now just hold back a little and ask yourself, when you thought about the news, where did the breakfast go? And when you thought about your parents, where did the news go? And now that you are thinking something else, where did the parents go? And each one disappeared without trace. So if we can understand this, this is a great discovery. We realize that the thoughts we have, which seem so tangible and which affects us so much, they just disappear without trace. We cannot hold them in our hands. They have such great power over us, but we cannot just keep them in a safe box from where we can bring out the same thought, the same thing, with the same texture, the same color, and the same thing. So what does this tell us? That the thoughts we have, they are like pulsations in energy. The mind is a vast sea of consciousness, which is pure energy. And in that sea of consciousness, some pulsations arise like waves. And each wave has its own form and attribute. So we experience the wave, but after some time, when the wave has run its course, it just dissolves and disappears. If you have ever lighted incense sticks at your puja or in a place of worship, you must have noticed with admiration the smoke when it rises from the incense stick. For a few seconds it has such a tangible form, floating through the air, going upwards, and then there comes a time when it disappears. There is no trace of that smoke. Our thoughts are just like that. They are waves arising in the sea of consciousness. They have a certain form for some time. Because we consider them to be real, we identify with them in a big way. In fact, our life is governed by them. So there are thoughts that bind us, and we are unable to let go of them or dissociate ourselves from them because we consider them to be real. They create a scenario that is real. So it is important to know that thoughts are pulsations of energy. They have a certain form and an attribute, but they have a limited shelf life, and they are going to disappear. So anything that disappears, that has limited shelf life, cannot be the truth. So if we want to embrace the path of wisdom, then we have to understand this secret about thoughts. Our thoughts are but pulsations of energy. They come and do their lila, their play before our eyes, before our mind, and then they disappear. And mind is the sea of consciousness, where all these waves of thought arise and subside. So one who knows that can have a key to understanding the mind. So much for now. We will meet again.